Welcome to Poker Market, making poker more efficient.
Hi guys, this is Weasel for PokerMarket.com. About 10.1k hands into the 12k grind on Pokerstars, so we just have another 1900 or so hands to go, and then we'll tally up the final result. Okay, standard open on table 3 with the 10-9, ace-3, we don't really hit too hard, so we'll just check back and go for a delayed c-bet. This guy pro bets a turn, could raise with some frequency here. In fact, raising is probably correct at the high limit game. I'm going to assume players don't probe quite aggressively enough, and I'm going to make a tight fold. Should occasionally bluff here on table 1. MP versus UTG open. Obviously hope to take it down pre, but even if we don't, we still have some equity with this hand. He just donks, and that's a terrible board for us, so we'll just give up. 6-7, you can take or leave this combo really, you don't have to open. 7-8 you have to open, 6-7, 5-6, these are not too important. Table 1 with flop, top pair, it's somewhat vulnerable, so we're just going to bet for value and hope the turn card's not terrible, or maybe we'll take it down on the flop. He raises. This is a very, very tough spot to play in if you do call, so I'm just going to fold straight away. Again, it's probably correct in theory to call and see a turn card. But we have two issues with low limit games. Firstly, players don't raise anywhere near aggressively enough on the flop, so it allows us to make some big laydowns. Secondly, hand is very difficult to play on turn and river, so you have to have a good reason for calling the flop, and we don't really have that reason at these limits. So an example of a good reason would be if you knew your opponent was attempting to exploit you by just raising basically every flop, then obviously you can't just go around folding top pair on the flop. In fact, it's very, very exploitable to fold probably any top pair on the flop. But it's just more trouble than it's worth at these limits to defend in those kind of spots, for the reasons we've discussed. Fours would normally be in the 3-betting range, but this guy doesn't have a full stack. I'm going to assume that we just about have the right implied odds post-flop. Hope he's a weaker player. Hope we don't get squeezed, of course, as well. That's another bad thing that can happen. Ace-King we're going to squeeze. Should be pretty standard. We hope we don't get 4-bet by UTG. Although, to be honest, if he 4-bets, he usually has kings or aces, so it's not a big deal. We just have to give up. We get called, it's not a very good flop for us. Ace-7 we have to call because it's multi-way. Ace-King we're just going to check back. 10-Jack we have to overcall, get a great price. This is not really what we're looking for with Ace-King. I think I'll put out a very small protection bet, but he's not going to fold any pocket pair for this sizing. That's fine though, I don't expect him to fold any pocket pair, like we're going to lose to like pocket 8s here a lot. This is very, very strange river play from our opponent here. Maybe he does have like ace-jack of spades, in which case fine, you know, our play worked out very well, assuming he doesn't hit, which he did, but worked out very well on the turn in that case. Because that's really what he's repping, I guess, although he should lead the turn with those hands as well. So ace-10 we overcall, we'll lead, although if UTG raises we're often still behind his range. Probably rather get action from the button, I think. I guess one of the safer cards for us on the turn, although it's certainly not impossible that UTG still has stuff like jacks in his range. I think I might even still have an underbet for value here on the river. Because unless he's passive, some guys would even raise jacks on the flop. So I guess he had like 9s or something, or like queen 10, king 10 suited. Yeah. And he even had the flush redraw as well. Kings, you know, this is pretty bad flop. I check, but I think betting may actually be better in this spot. It's just a pretty bad, when you think about the kind of hands he might be calling with, we're either not going to get action or we're going to be behind a lot of the time. He can still have a few worse combos. He can have things like pocket jacks, for example. I guess ace king as well, which we block. You know, I think we have to call 1 here, and then give up on this river. Probably would be slightly better to c-bet though, actually, I think. Yeah, he just hits a miracle set on the turn, so I guess that's why you should c-bet. Pretty unlucky. Table 3, we take a stab because this guy skips his c-bet. I've got no idea how we can't fire the river as well with the pocket twos. Like, some of the stuff that we've seen is absolutely shocking. I mean, yeah, sure, we should have c-bet the flop, probably. He's got a full house and he just checks on the river. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're not going to call the river bet anyway. Although, you know, if he'd bet a very small amount, we would have paid him off. He's definitely missed a whole bunch of value there. And kings is not the only hand we have in our range either. Okay, jack 10. I guess we're usually good after we flop top trips. There's some draws out there, so we should be 2-barreling at least. We don't really want to get raised. Reasonable turn card for us. He doesn't complete any draws. Reduces his king 10 combos, which he can't call in the small blind with, so mostly it's a pretty good card for us. It's quite hard to be behind on that turn card, I think, especially after he doesn't raise the flop. This guy limps, we'll give him a pink tag. Here we flop 2-pair with the jack 7. I think it's generally best to bet because on certain runouts it might be worth three streets, so there are some bad river cards that can come, of course. That's not really one of them.